Hello there friends, Jules here from Live and Let's Dice, and I've got 4 words for you. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I've seen the thumbnail, I've seen the title of this video, I'm a smart cookie, those 4 words are going to be Lair of the Beast. You can't pull the wool over my arse, Jules. And to that I say, firstly, weird, but also yes, you are indeed a snack of average intelligence and above, and yes, we are going to be talking about Lair of the Beast today, the board game, but in truth, the 4 words are actually kicking ass for charity, which is exactly what we did at the 40 Hours of 40k charity event. And this video here is the rundown of our experiences and indeed our collective successes. Now you see, the 40 Hours of 40k event was created by Andrew Weller and has been running for 6 years now. It's hosted within the lovely English town of Lincoln at a brilliant hobby space called Imps Gaming. Now the event organisers teamed up with the charity CALM to raise money for suicide prevention, CALM standing for Campaign Against Living Miserably, and all donations from the event go towards helping support people at risk as well as providing helpful information on subjects such as anxiety, depression and money worries in order to help people deal with or manage issues in their lives and to aid others in their social groups. Now across the event, which to the surprise of nobody lasted for 40 hours, all manner of 40k games took place, some involving Primarchs battling against a fleet of dreadnoughts, others intense tactical games, and then there was our segment. And boy howdy, was it a bit of a trip. For you see, we were going to be playing through this Combat Arena Lair of the Beast, a game that I immediately knew I had to add to my collection, but for some reason is a US and Germany exclusive. Like, why, GW? You make this game like 3 hours away from where I live. Why are you killing me with such a beautiful smile on your face, you bloody lovable rogue? Still, after much begging, canvassing my friends in the US, and one great expense later, the custom fees for this game were like 3 times the cost of the game itself, I had this game in my sweaty little paws. Now the reason that I'd chosen this in particular was as simple as it would then become very complex. Firstly, I adore the format, where actions, movement and defense are controlled by what cards you have in your hand, and there's super simplistic rules on shooting, range and damage, meaning that anyone can get involved in this title quickly. Plus, this featured models from the Blackstone Fortress line, many of which are now out of print and very expensive on reseller sites. And if you want to see how these games actually play, you can check out these videos, because as you can see, we love the format quite a lot here on Live and Let's Dice. Plus, it was the first Combat Arena to offer up 10 different playable characters, meaning that there's replay for days, or as was the case for me, a chance to gather the skill team together once more and get an almighty project underway. Now, the skill team's last venture saw us painting up a custom Gaunt's Ghost kill team and then playing a match on the back of an Imperator Titan made by the one and only Lee Godden. And the best thing is that as soon as I asked him if he wanted to help with this, he just basically like rubbed his hands together and said, "I've got an idea." And that idea was this, the board. Well, not this board, you see. He made us this board, a custom Lair of the Beast battle arena with LED lights underneath and a ton of outstanding detail. From the fragments on the floor, the ball worm pods, and even a baby amble hiding out there, this was a labour of love and then some, and made for one hell of a surprise when the gang saw it in person. And speaking of which, let's actually meet the team.
Hey guys, Jules the video editor here, and I just want to say something. You'll probably watch the next bit of footage and think to yourself, oh, are they standing in front of some bins? Yes we are, because we're classy guys and that was the only thing that we could record in front of. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm Merlin Models and this is Sergeant Venaro.
I'm VW Salos and I painted Espern Lacano.
I'm Matt Pate, this is Jan Drake, and he is awesome.
I'm Mikey from Live and Let's Dice and I painted Ryan Gaffer. He's tiny, unlike me.
Hi, I'm Beanie from Live and Let's Dice and I painted up Tadius the Purifier.
Hello, I'm Lawson. I did this guy, Rouse Gaffer. Rouse Gaffer.
Hiya, I'm Gareth from Null Nine Water. This is Iwar25 and he...
Hi everyone, I'm Jules and I painted up Pious Fawn.
Boo.
My name's Doug and I painted up Pete the Shadow Guide.
Hey, I'm Lee, and I painted Greg.
Hey, Editor Jules here again. Lee is completely underselling his involvement in this because not only did he paint the model, he made the bloody board, and lest we not forget, he made the Imperator Titan and let us play a game of Kill Team on it. This man's investment in terms of time, effort, and love for these projects is unrivaled. Absolute hero. He's undersold himself here, but I'm going to do it for him right now. Lee, I love you, mate. Big bless.
So we had our models, we had our outstanding boards, and we had our time slot. It was time to begin. Oh, and by the way, if the footage that you're about to see here is a bit bouncy or low focus at times, it's because I ripped it straight from the stream itself, and also because I put my webcam on my laptop and it was foolishly placed on the splash zone, also known as a slightly wobbly part of the table where we were recording. The players just seemed to single out with their giant ape-like fists. You gotta love them. Now the idea was to have 3 matches take place, with the winner of the first 2 matches securing a place in the 3rd final match. And as there were 10 people, this meant that 2 people automatically got a bye into the final, which was determined by a dice roll, and it saw Lawson and Matt take the first 2 positions. Then it was time to determine the other victors, and that boiled down to, well, how best to put it? Oh yes, beating the absolute piss out of one another. In the first match, Beanie came out of the gate strong, with his character Thaddeus being able to buff his ability to hit, and thanks to his servo skull gun, it actually meant that he had a pretty decent threat range. Merlin's Space Marine also fared pretty well, diving into combat immediately with Doug and tearing lumps out of him with a chainsaw. However, it soon became clear that Lee's Kroot model and its ability to choose its facing every time it moved was a real powerhouse, and he routinely managed to get into position to deal tons of damage. One of the funniest moments in the early game happened when Doug perfectly lined up a shot with his Aldari and then rolled incredibly well to hit Merlin's Space Marine, only for him to shrug off nearly every bit of damage. What he needed to do was roll 5s and 6s to block it, and then he bust out 3 6s in a rather casual manner. In fact, it actually became a bit of a running joke because Merlin kept on using this energy shield card to use the invulnerable 5s and 6s and got them all the time. It was so utterly potent and incredibly frequent. Still though, that smile was soon wiped off the Space Marine's face when Doug dove in to stab him in the back like a truly honourable warrior, which then set up the Kroot for what would be a devastating move, as we were about to witness a headshot. You see, in this game, your health is shown using this tracker. However, when it reaches the bottom, you don't die straight away. Instead, you move back up the track, but now start from 1 rung lower, giving you a nifty little skull token to show that you've taken a wound. Now, once all of these fill up with skulls, then you die. But for each skull that you net, you also get a critical injury card, which can severely hamper your abilities. Yet there's one card that you never want to draw from the critical injury deck, and that is the headshot card. This lets your opponent roll a dice for each skull that's on your card, and if there's even 1 6, well, you are immediately dead right there and then. Things unfortunately didn't fare much better for Merlin, who while repositioning and chipping off a few wounds on both other opponents just couldn't get the job done before the Kroot also feasted on his corpse. This left just Doug and Lee staring daggers at one another, and after a significant back and forth, the Eldari Ranger collapsed in a heap, leaving the mighty Kroot as the sole survivor. Now in match 2, Mikey's Rattling, Gareth's Robot and Talos's Navigator were joined by the burning wrath of my character, Pius Vaughn. Yet before the battle could truly begin, Gareth posited a rather interesting proposition. He said that he could be bribed with booze. For the cost of a single can of beer, he vowed not to shoot me in the opening round, and being a man who has played more than his fair share of betrayal games, I saw this as a golden opportunity and agreed immediately. However, maybe my faith was a little misplaced, as while Gareth did indeed beep and or boop over to Talos's Navigator, he missed with nearly every shot that he took and left himself at the mercy of what we then termed as the Navigator's hittin' stick. Now, this stick, in a universe filled with guns the size of actual planets, may well be the most devastating thing that I've ever seen, because it was able to do, in one turn, 24 damage to Gareth. It was actually really hilarious because Talos was so apologetic about it. He had the proper feel bad, and Gareth just showed us what cards he had. He was like, I literally only have cards that let me do stuff after taking damage, meaning that there was no way to even stop it if he tried. As a result, in the next round, the robot was reduced to a pile of scrap. Yet, here's the thing, just because the robot body was dead, it didn't mean that the machine's spirit was as well, as another rule of Combat Arena is that once your character dies, you flip over your character card, and whenever your initiative card is then drawn from the deck, you roll a dice and follow the results on that table. This could make opponents discard cards, drop rocks on their heads to do damage, or even on a 6, get back up again and make one final attack. And Gareth? Well, he was the bloody rock master. Every single time his card came up, he would smash the group with rocks to the point that Mikey was left in a very bad way after just a few rounds. However, did manage to pie off the Navigator with a brutal round of shooting, leaving just Pius Vaughan and the Ratling alone.
15.
He dead!
So we are the
I don't feel good about killing my friends!
And what happened next was a tense game of cat and mouse, as each combatant used the dodge card to move one hex after being nominated for an attack and slid just out of range. The amount of times that we were saying we're going to play this, this and this, only for them to just go like, but I move. Oh, infuriating, but brilliant at the same time. This happened for a few rounds until I drew the perfect hand, allowing me to close in, unleash the flamer and obliterate Mikey, which secured me the victory.
All we need is a 3. So that is the end of the game. Ryan has been cooked by Flamey Lady.
So finally, it was time to face the Amble, and as Beanie was the first person to die in this mini campaign, we gave him control of this beast, and bloody hell, he did not waste any time reveling in its awesome power. You see, the Amble hits like a truck. It can call in support, which acts like living mines, and then if the hunting team doesn't end their turn in base-to-base contact with it, it does an area of attack ability that can do potentially 20 damage a turn to everyone, which he did in the first turn. Ouch. Thankfully though, the team were all geared up to take down this beast. Well, almost everyone, as Lawson decided that taking down his Ratling brother in the previous game was too much to bear, and so attacked Pius Vaughan, costing me precious cards and health to deflect. All of which weakened me to the point that despite dealing some significant damage to the Amble, meant that one smash and one area of attack move later, I was a crumpled heap. 2 turns later, Lawson joined me on the bench after being crushed by the Amble's bulk, and to be honest, it seemed at this point that we would 100% be in the "oh god, we are getting screwed" column. But then a true saviour emerged. Matt, who had been cautiously picking at the beast from afar, noticed his unique ability, which, for lack of better words, is absolutely overpowered. The Archotech Ring ability sees you make a 4-dice attack action, hitting on 2s with damage of 6 to an enemy that is right in front of you. Throne Helpers, that is insane in this game, and wouldn't you know who happened to end up right next to the Amble? Well, goodbye, see ya, he's gone. Oof, what a brutal annihilation that we just witnessed right there. And yet, the battle wasn't over. For now, the Croots and Janus, or Janus, had to fight out to see who was the true champion once and for all. Now, things were heated, but definitely favoured Matt, who, thanks to taking next to no damage and always being out of range, managed to duck and weave closer to Lee, who desperately wanted to keep distance lest he had to feast on Matt's fiery ring once more. I could have definitely worded that a bit better. And because Lawson and I were role-playing now as vengeful spirits, when our turns came up, all we did was drop rocks on Lee and make Matt discard his cards. It was so very petty. So much so that it was actually Lawson dropping a boulder on the head of the Croot that ended the match, meaning that one of the most devastating warriors in the galaxy was crushed by a rock. I'm sure that Matt's character would probably retell that story with a few embellishments later on down the pub. No, I didn't get crushed with a rock, mate. I definitely finished the job. Just don't go look at his corpse. Ignore the rock-shaped hole in his skull. I just hit him really hard. But there we had it. We had our winner. Matt was the slayer of the mighty Amble and technically the true surviving champion. Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? And to cap it all off, we walked away from the event with great stories to tell and huge smiles on our faces. Smiles that would only get wider once it was revealed at the end of the event that 40 Hours of 40k had raised £5,000 for Calm, which is a truly epic achievement. And that is actually how I would describe this event overall. an achievement across the board. The organisation was brilliant, the charity a vital and important one, the setting of Imps Gaming becoming an immediate favourite within the group, and a huge display of skill and kindness from all the painters and hobbyists involved. And even on a very personal level, it was just great to be able to work with Mikey and Lawson in person again, which is much harder to do seeing as they're in Newcastle and we're in Wales. It's just wholesome. The entire event was so wholesome and violent in equal measure. Well, just as all good trips should be, right? So the only thing left to do was have a celebratory pint at the Dog and Bone pub around the corner and then go our separate ways. Until we meet next time, skilled team, on another distant battlefield of likely ridiculous premises, and where Lee will once again probably go above and beyond, so much so it's like working with the god of green stuff themselves. But I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone involved, and to the organisers as well for letting us be a part of this event. And the best part of all of this, though, is that it will definitely be back next year, so stay tuned, as I'm sure that we're going to be back with another charity-focused segment. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there are links to the Calm charity down below if you want to support them outside of this event as well, because like I said, it is a fantastic cause. And I just want to say as well that I hope that you watching this video are doing well. I hope that you're treating yourself with that love and respect that I know that you deserve, because you are a good person, all right? You deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings on this planet. So just remember, above all else, you are a big ledge, and you deserve the best. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.